Are you tempted by the allure of quick riches? In today's episode, we'll uncover the dangers of fast money, exploring why sudden wealth can lead to reckless decisions and financial ruin. We'll also discuss how to align your financial journey with biblical wisdom. Let's get some perspective. Welcome back to another episode of Christian Financial Perspectives. My name is Shawn Peters. This is Bob Barber. And today we're going to be covering the dangers of fast money. Now, today's podcast, we're going to be focusing on this concept of fast money, inspired by a CNBC program that we definitely don't like very much. So we despise it.
Yeah.
But it often promotes greed and gambling in the markets. And we'll discuss why this mindset can be harmful.
Yes.
Now, the phrase fast money suggests that it can disappear as quickly as it arrives. Unlike slow earned wealth, fast money can lead to reckless behavior and poor financial decisions.
Yep.
Right,
and this is an interesting because it's nearly like say, welcome to fast money. That's what they always say, on the CNBC, and I'll listen to it. Gosh, it is just so much about, they even say, play this and play that. Like just play with your money, all right? Luke 12:15 gives us a warning of this. Then he said, watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions. And I tell you, we got to be very, very careful as Christians when it comes to this type of topic in trying to get rich quick, because that can be based on greed.
How many Proverbs verses are there that talk about little by little, how like money that's gained quickly or dishonestly fades away, but the money that is gained little by little lasts?
It's just throughout Scripture.
That's one of them. But I mean, there's just tons of scriptures on that. On it's not about get rich quick.
Yeah.
So fast money often leads to impulsive and unwise decisions.
It does. Sure does. And, some of these examples that you just think about includes lottery winners and these young athletes that get these $10 million or even $50 million contracts. And then you go back to them, 10 years later, and many times they're worse off financially than before it ever happened.
That's right.
And that's a major pitfall, and it can create divorces. It can, anger, stress. If you don't know how to handle a little money, how are you going to know how to handle
exactly?
the
Which
big
takes
money?
us right into our second scripture, which is Luke 16:10. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much, and whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much.
Think about it. Yeah,
Scripture says it right there.
You can't manage the small stuff.
Why do you think you're going to be able to handle the large amount? And what ends up happening is when you come into that sudden wealth, which is also sudden wealth syndrome. I know we've done at least a couple episodes on that.
We have.
But that sudden wealth syndrome, the reason why it's can be so damaging is money amplifies our strengths and weaknesses.
It does.
And so if you've not been able to manage what you already have well, and you all of a sudden get a lot of money, then you end up making the same kind of mistakes, but with larger dollar amounts. For example, like what that one show where they renovate a house, like crazy renovations on a house, and they make it super, super nice. I remember reading an article about how the vast majority of those people end up being financially ruined, and they don't even have the house later because the taxes alone on this super nice, expensive house now, the families can't afford it.
Yeah. We're going to go over 7 common ways that you come about fast money. Now, this is not bad at all, these first 2 or 3, because these are things many times beyond your control, all right? But I think what we're talking about today, we are talking about the dangers of fast money, and that first one is inheritance. I've seen many times going from $0 to $1 million overnight in an inheritance, and an inheritance gained too quickly will not be blessed in the end. And that says that in Proverbs 20:21. And parents, grandparents, you must know if those children cannot handle that money well now, what makes you think they're going to handle that much more well?
And I think, again, this really goes into, an inheritance can either bless or curse the next generation. And one of the things that I know we've helped people with, but you can set up your estate planning to where you have a certain, dollar amount ratio. Like, let's say you set it at a 1 to 3 or a 1 to 2%. Well, not percent. No, I mean like where the inheritor has to demonstrate that they've at least saved and invested a certain amount, and so it's at like a 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. You have an extra $500,000 that's going to go to one of your the people inheriting it. Well, if they have at least $100,000 put into their investment accounts, then you can kind of see that as a 1 to 5. Okay, well they've earned the inheritance because at least they've been faithful and wise with what they have. The other thing, like you were kind of alluding to, is maybe instead of the entire inheritance goes to your kids or the grandkids, but you set it as, all right, you can get 3% per year, period. Like that's the most that can be taken out.
And as you know, that's the way we've set ours up because I've shared it with you. And if it makes 5, then that's great because they get 3 and 2% goes back in and it just grows and grows, and that can go for multi-generations. And there's other things that you can put around that, but we'll mention that on it.
Yeah, we'll have more depth on another episode.
An entire other podcast and an episode for YouTube on inheritance and how to wisely hand that off. But
number 2 is a retirement lump sum payout.
See, this a lot, don't we?
Yeah, where people have the option to either get a certain amount per year for the rest of their life for X number of years, or they get that big lump sum. With the right kind of planning, that lump sum can be more beneficial in the long run, but we also have seen many times where that it gets spent really fast,
or it gets invested in a wrong way. We had a client inherit a lump sum. We put them, not inherit. I mean, they got a retirement lump sum. We put them into a very diversified portfolio. They started getting impatient. They wanted to make more of a return. They started looking at aggressive growth and what that was doing. Started coveting, and they took the entire lump sum out and went and put it in one asset class. That was very, very dangerous. And this asset class has not even kept rate with inflation over the past 30 to 40 years. Number 3 is a life insurance payout. We've seen this happen before many times. Not a lot of times, but unfortunately, this is something that's not fun. But that's got to be handled with wisdom, and there's dangers behind getting a life insurance payout if you don't know how to handle it. The unfortunate thing I've seen too with widows is, for some reason, family members start coming out of the woodwork and needing a loan.
It could be kids, cousins, nieces, nephews, brother, sister, whoever. All of a sudden, and then they have a sob story, and if you don't want to give them the money, then they give you the guilt trip. Right. And it's honestly a shame on the people that are trying to take advantage of the widow at that point.
But we've had a lot of widows that we've helped here for the last 25, 30 years that we've helped them to slowly not overspend, and it's still here today, and even more so today than it was when the life insurance payout. But we've done another podcast on that.
Number 4, and this is going to be the last one of the, not necessarily something wrong with it, but it is one of the most common ways. Hang on. So number 4 is oil and gas discovery, and then we're going to do the last 3 are, we would overall probably say just maybe avoid them. But oil and gas, and I mean, Bob, how many times did you deal with this from the Eagle Ford Shale around our area in Texas? And you had all these ranchers and other families that, they might have gone from $40,000, $50,000 a year income, and all of a sudden they're making $100,000 or more a month.
Yeah.
But it also, over time, it started dropping pretty fast too. And people started to get used to a lifestyle that, they could spend $1 million a year, and then all of a sudden their income is $100,000 or $150,000 a year, and they can't maintain it.
It's the old 80-20 rule here, and I think I unfortunately saw about 80% of those that did get quite a oil and gas discovery on their land, they spent it all, and it's kind of a sad thing. That was about 10 or 15 years ago when we had this huge oil strike in South Texas that was one of the largest in the world at the time, and it really created boom towns in South Texas. But that's all kind of gone away now. It's still there, but you got to understand when you get that kind of fast money, It's got to be done with wisdom.
That's right. That's right. And so then number 5 is gambling.
So these last 3 are the...
Exactly.
Okay.
These are more or less the... we would probably overall recommend you avoid these.
Right.
So, but gambling, we've got 1 Corinthians 15:33. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Gambling fosters reckless behavior and can be incredibly addictive. Yep. We're not talking about just going to Vegas, but now there's the stuff you can do online. And on your phone, there's the, I'm sorry if I step on some toes, but the fantasy sports league, whatever, football or whatever sport it is, that is gambling if you're throwing money at it. So just be careful with it. And the old school gambling, I guess I would say, is definitely just avoid that period.
And then this next one, lottery. The lottery wins are just so far and few between. Or the stats of that are, as you know, 1 in 500 million. I heard somebody say, well, the odds of winning a lottery, or you'd have a better likelihood of getting struck by lightning if you lived 37,000 lifetimes. When you do the math, it'd probably be more than that.
Sorry, it's something about the likelihood of being struck by lightning over thousands of lifetimes. So like over and over and over and over thousands. Yeah, it's crazy. The other way to look at it is when the odds are that high, you could say, okay, imagine trying to pick the address of a home somewhere between North America, Central America, and South America. You get one guess to guess the address. It's basically the same thing.
That's like a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
And
so we recommend avoiding that.
Yeah.
The last one, lucky stock picks, which kind of goes right in with the gambling and lottery wins. Well, stocks can fall just as quickly as they rise. And many times they typically fall at a faster rate than the actual rise. So be careful. And what's that phrase, Bob, that you've been telling me for years now?
That's a country boy phrase. Pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered.
Okay. So what does that mean when it comes to stocks?
Well, you think about it. If a stock's gone up by 100% or 200%, which we've seen some of these AI stocks do that, I think it's time to get out of the way and move on.
Maybe diversify a little bit, kind of rebalance, take some of your profits.
Because, like you say, the pigs are just fattening up, but once they become a hog and they get to a certain size, then they get slaughtered. And I think you need to be very careful with that. That is kind of a country boy saying it's funny.
Yeah. So as you can see, many times it is just from pure luck or being at the right place at the perfect time.
Yep.
So as Christians, Bob, should we pursue fast money?
I think we should not. I think we should absolutely try not, do not pursue fast money. I think it's dangerous. And Scripture repeatedly warns us about the dangers of fast money or sudden wealth. Mm-hmm. Now, when fast money comes to an inheritance, lump sum, life insurance, or oil and gas discovery, that's different, but it's crucial.
It's not bad in of itself.
No.
But it's crucial to manage it wisely.
And there is a danger in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In conclusion, the first step would be to consult with a fee-based fiduciary financial advisor to create a comprehensive financial plan tailored to your short and long-term goals. This is important for a number of reasons, but one, it's to make sure that however that money came in, you want it to last longer than you do.
Right.
Just like a normal retirement planning. Mm-hmm. We're looking at, okay, well, do you have anybody that lived past age 90 in your family? Do we need to put 100 years as the potential age range for you, or is 90 okay? And then make sure in the planning that it'll last at least as long as that. And the other part with that I think is very helpful, Bob, is when you have a plan in place, it also helps you to avoid the mistake of coveting. Well, I heard so-and-so, a friend of mine or a family member that, they had this good stock pick or they had this whatever, and it's up X amount where I'm only up a certain, less than that. Well, if you're on track for your short and long-term goals, why does it matter?
Right.
Because is the goal to just get as big of a return as possible, or is the goal to meet your actual financial goals? And personally, I think it's a lot less stressful when you look at it that way too.
And that's that good program we made just recently called The Financial Fear of Missing Out.
That's right.
And, sometimes the last thing that's said is the most important. And we look at the 10 Commandments and it says, do not covet. And we have to be very careful of that, not to covet what other people have or the returns that they're making. Like you say, if the returns are right there in line with your financial plan and your goals, short-term goals and long-term goals, you're fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It doesn't matter. So at Christian Financial Advisors, we are here to help you guide you through this process. We'd love to hear from you, whether you want some help with this or you just want to give us an idea for another podcast episode. You can visit us at christianfinancialadvisors.com. You can also call or text us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time at 830-609-6986. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, God bless and hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos just like this, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and like this video. If you have questions, you can visit our website, call, text us, or comment below. See you next time.